There are things inside of your territory that matter to you. And there's a battle going on, just like in the physical world, in the spiritual world, between you and an enemy who desires to tear down your territory. We find in Mark chapter 5 an incredible conversation between Jesus and a demon-possessed guy. And in Mark 5, this incredible conversation, if you will lean in today, it could absolutely revolutionize your life.
All right. Well, hey, welcome to New Life Church. My name is Chris. I want to welcome everybody at all of our locations. And Carney, would you just welcome all of our other campuses right now by giving them a great big shout out? We love you guys. Wherever you are in the right place. And online campus, all of our physical campuses, God is here. Well, welcome to New Life. We are in the month of November, which at New Life, that's Kingdom Builder Month. And Kingdom Builders are people. They're new lifers who are incredibly generous, and they're partnering with what God is doing both locally and around the world by supporting financially missionaries and missions partnerships here in Nebraska, really to the ends of the earth. And this month is Kingdom Builder Month. So far this year, through giving and people who've given to go on a Go trip, we've seen giving at $431,000 of that goal. Can you thank God for that and praise God for the faithfulness of Kingdom Builders? And that means that there are a number of different missions partnerships that we still want to fund. And we're believing God for a miracle in that. That's $206,000 miracle. And next Sunday, Pastor Jeff will be here. He'll be speaking. And next Sunday is the official Miracle Offering Sunday. So here's what I want to encourage you to do is be praying over the next few days. I know you have if you're a new lifer. God, what do you want me to do? Here's what I want to encourage you with, that God loves a cheerful giver. And God doesn't just want your money, He wants your heart. And as you're faithful to steward what God has given you and you're generous, God transforms your heart. So be praying, God, how can I be a part of this miracle? Show up next Sunday. It's going to be a great Sunday. Well, today our guest speaker is one of our Kingdom Builder partners. Pastor Chris Sonksen is a pastor that has had for decades an incredible heart for the local church and for pastors, to coach pastors, and now to rescue churches that are on the verge, many of them, of closing their doors. And the miracle offering, here's what it's going to help us do with Church Boom, the ministry he founded, is it's going to help rescue 6 churches. How many think that's amazing, that we get to be a part of that? We get to be a part of that, and so he's going to share from God's Word today, an inspiring message. And so at all of our locations, when he gets to the platform, would you welcome Pastor Chris Sonksen.
Thank you, brother. Well, good morning. Oh, come on, you can do better than that. You're in church, best place to be all week long. Good morning. It is so awesome to be able to be with you. Thank you so much, Pastor Chris, and all the campuses, and just thank you so much for what you do to be a kingdom builder and help us rescue churches. And it is an honor to be here today. I love Pastor Jeff and Kim. I'm sure I don't need to tell you this, but you have some of the most amazing pastors on the planet. And he's probably watching right now, so a big cheer would have been good. And hey, a little bit about me, and from Southern California. I actually live in Southern California, and I just moved. My wife and I are now living in Arkansas, which we went from California all of our life to now living in Arkansas because of our grandkids. And Arkansas is very different than California. I'm learning to chew. I've got night crawlers in my glove box. I'm trying to blend in. But yeah, so a little bit about me. We are the founders of South Hills Church. We have a bunch of locations, just like you do. I don't do a lot of the day-to-day. I now coach pastors and rescue churches, as Pastor Chris alluded to. And America right now is closing 3 churches for every one that opens. 3 churches closed for every one that opens. And so we wanted to do something about it, and we are doing something about it. And I want to thank you in advance for being a kingdom builder because you're helping us with that. A little bit more about me. Been married for 34 years. Yeah. Woo. To a beautiful Mexican woman. Yeah, she's hot. And I call her my little hot tamale. And she doesn't speak any English, but that helps us get along. And then we have 2 children. We have 3 grandchildren, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 3-month-old. How many are grandparents here? Let me see. Come on, is it not the best thing on the planet? Way better than parenting. God give to you for not killing your own kid. That's really, I was holding my granddaughter recently and my adult son says to me, Dad, it's like you love her more. I said, no, it's not like I do. I do. You had a good run. It's over for you. If you got a Bible, we'll go there in a minute. You don't have to go there on the screen yet, but if you have a Bible, go to Mark chapter 5. If you don't have a Bible, next time at a hotel, get one. They're free. I steal them and sell them on eBay. I'm trying to rescue churches. But we are a baseball family. If you know anything about my family, we love baseball. I've been to all 30 Major League Baseball stadiums with my son. We love baseball. We are a baseball family. When my wife was pregnant and we found out it was a boy, I was like, God, make him a lefty. If you know anything about baseball, being a lefty is a big deal. And so I was like, man, God, just make him a lefty. So he's born, and I can't tell if he's left-handed or right-handed, because he'd eat with his left, he'd eat with his right, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old. I can't tell if he's left or right. And so I figured he's a righty like all of us, so I got him a glove, took him to the front yard. 4 years old, I got to teach him how to throw a ball because we love baseball. Got him a little glove, went to the front yard. I said, okay, son, hold the glove up. I throw the tennis ball to my son. It bounces off of his glove. He picks it up. Now, stay with me. He picks it up with his right hand. I already showed him how to throw it, right? He picks it up with his right hand, and he goes like this. And I thought, oh, dear God, he can't throw. There's no way he's from our loins. I don't know what's going on. And so he did it again, and like that. And I'm like, he can't throw. Third time I throw it, it goes over his head. He runs back, gets it, drops his glove, picks it up with his left hand, and before I could say, son, wrong hand, he fired the ball at me with his left hand. And that's when the clouds opened up and you could hear the angels. Because he was a lefty from the word God. And I was like, this is it. So, man, we got him in baseball, like as in pitching lessons by the time he was 5. 4 years old, 5-year-old, California, you play all year round because of the weather. 5-year-old, 6 years old, 7 years old. By the time he was 7, I had a little tattoo put on his arm, said 401k. I was thinking about my life. And so he is just playing baseball up to 7 years old, and he's doing really well, being a left-handed little pitcher. He comes home one day. I'm normally not home in the middle of the day, but I happen to be home then. He comes home one day, and he's waving a flyer. He's 7 years old. Dad, I want to sign up for this. Please, let me sign up for this. Please, please, please. And I'm like, okay, let me see it. He gives me the flyer. I look at it, and it's a sign up for soccer. And I said, son, we don't do that in this house. We're Christians. But Dad, I want to sign up. My friends are signing up, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. So we sign them up. Now, I don't know anything about baseball, but it's opening day. And that's the day where they take all the little pictures, and there's a little banner and underneath the name of the team. And, so I'm standing there looking at all these 7- and 8-year-old teams. And I'm looking at all the teams, right? I know nothing about soccer, but I'm looking at these little teams. And you got the Jaguars, and then you've got the Tigers and the Bears, and you got like this Cougars and Panthers and whatever. And then you get to my son's team, and they're called the Bumblebees. How can you have any confidence called the Bumblebees? And they were horrible. And so, but they played, and they were horrible. But the coach would say all the time of the little bumblebee team that my son was on, protect your territory. If you're over here, protect your territory. If you're over there, protect your territory. Whatever you do, protect your territory. No matter what. That's what the coach would always say. Clearly, they never listened because they didn't protect their territory. They were horrible. When we got to the last game, their record was 0-15, meaning they'd never won a game. They were playing, last game of the season, they were playing a team that was 15-0. They'd never lost a game. And I knew this would be a bloodbath. So they get out there, they start playing soccer, whatever. I'm watching it. It's horrible. 1-0, 3-0, 5-0. It's horrible. There is a little Mexican boy on the other team. Whenever he gets the ball, the dad on the other side would yell out words in Spanish, which I don't understand Spanish. He would yell out words in Spanish. Whatever he would yell out, the little boy would score every time. Dad yells out, little Mexican boy scores. 1-0, 3, 5, 8, 12. We get to 19-0, and it's halftime. And so they blow the whistle. We're down 19-0. They're running over to their side, and here comes the little bumblebees, and their little wings are broken. They're like, "Bleh." And I'm standing there, and the coach is like, you kids are doing great. And I'm like, what game are you watching? They're horrible, you know, and he keeps going, protect your territory, protect your territory. And clearly they didn't. Second half starts 20-0, 23, 28. We get to 29-0. They blow the whistle for the 1 minute clock, right? This is it, we're 1 minute. When they blow the whistle, we're down 29-0 and the ball comes right here. And here comes that little Mexican boy, little Pele. And he comes and he gets the ball. Now check this out. He starts going the wrong way. With 1 minute on the clock, the kid on the other team going the wrong way. The dad on the other side is yelling in Spanish. Now, I don't understand Spanish, but he had to be yelling, you're going the wrong way. So I thought in my mind, I don't want this little boy to hear his dad. Because it occurred to me, this is our only chance to score. If he doesn't score for us, we're not going to get on the board. And so he starts going down, and he's kicking the ball down the sideline. I'm running with him so he doesn't hear his dad yelling out the only Spanish words I know, trying to let him hear me and not the dad. He scores for us. Our kids pick him up on their shoulders. He's totally confused. And we lose the final game of the season 29-1, and the only one came from the kid on the other team. Now, all year long, the coach would say, help me out, protect your... Okay, it's true in sports, isn't it? Football, baseball, basketball, whatever, hockey, you name it. It's all about protecting your territory. That's true in war. War is always about territory. One country wants what the other country has. We want your resources. We want your money. We want your land. We want your territory. That is not only true in the physical world we live in, it is also true in the spiritual world we live in. That there is all a fight about territory. Now, we all have a territory. It looks something like this. Put it on the screen for me. Here's our territory. Okay, that's you in the middle, all good looking and thin. And there's relationships, children, finances, marriage, career, spiritual life. Maybe not all of that applies to you, but some of it does. We all have a territory in our life. We have something that matters to us in our life. Our marriage, our relationships, our career, our finances, our spiritual life, whatever it may be. There are things inside of your territory that matter to you. And there's a battle going on, just like in the physical world, in the spiritual world, between you and an enemy who desires to tear down your territory. We find in Mark chapter 5 an incredible conversation between Jesus and a demon-possessed guy. And in Mark 5, this incredible conversation, if you will lean in today, it could absolutely revolutionize your life. Let's look at it. Mark chapter 5, verse 1. They went across the lake to the region of the Gerasenes. When Jesus got out of the boat, a man with an impure spirit came from the tombs to meet him. That's the demon-possessed guy. This man lived in the tombs, and no one could bind him anymore, not even with a chain, for he had been chained hand and foot, but he tore the chains apart and broke the irons on his feet. No one was able to subdue him. Night and day among the tombs and the hills, he would cry out and cut himself with stones. So, watch how the story goes. Jesus is over here with the disciples. He tells the disciples, let's go to the other side. They go to the other side, they row over there, and they get to the side called Gerasenes. When they get there, think about what that would look like in your mind's eye. A rugged boat pulling up on some sand, okay? And he gets out and he starts walking up the sand, okay? And then a demon-possessed guy comes, and now you've got Jesus and a demon-possessed guy having a conversation with each other. This is the epitome of good versus evil. Ready? Verse 6. When he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and fell on his knees in front of him. He shouted at the top of his voice, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? In God's name, don't torture me." Now let's stop there. Why am I stopping there? Because up to this point, you're probably thinking that Jesus is having a conversation with the demon-possessed man. But I would argue that Jesus is having a conversation with the demon. Why is that? Because the guy comes up and says, Jesus, Son of the Most High God. The disciples didn't even know that he was the Son of the Most High God. If the disciples didn't know, how would this possessed guy living in a tomb and cutting himself, how would he know? He didn't know. Jesus wasn't having a conversation with a demon-possessed man. Jesus was having a conversation with a demon. This is an intense moment, man. Now, check it out. Let's pick it up where we left off. Now, this part cracks me up. Maybe you won't find the humor in it. I do. For Jesus had said to him, verse 8, come out of this man, you impure spirit. Now let's stop there. We read that and think, oh, okay, it's just casual. I want you to realize, go with me how intense this is. It's not like Jesus is going, okay, well, come out of this man if you want to. This is an intense moment. Jesus, the guy's on his knees. Jesus is standing there. Can you see what it would look like? And he says, come out of this man. It was intense. I want you to imagine the most intense yell that Jesus could give. I mean, this is an intense moment. Now, check this out. Remember, come out of this man, you impure spirit. Now, look what Jesus says. And Jesus asks, oh, by the way, what's your name? To me, that's hilarious. Maybe you don't find the humor in it, but I'm like, what an odd thing to do, huh? Jesus like, come out of this man. Oh, wait, hold on. What is your name? What an odd thing to do. Now, why did Jesus do that? He knew the name. Why would he ask the question if he knew the name? He knows everything. He asked the name because he wanted us at New Life Church in 2025, he wanted us to know what the name was because it was important. Then Jesus asked, what is your name? And then the demon said, my name is, help me out, it's on the screen, my name is what? Legion. He said, for we are many. Okay, now, legion, the word legion, if you're taking notes, the word legion is a Roman Empire term meaning 6,000 or more. Basically, the demon is saying, there's 6,000 of us in here. That is a big deal. We'll get back to that in a minute. Legion means 6,000, okay? Now, final verse. And he begged Jesus again and again. I mean, he was pleading with Jesus again and again not to send him out of the area, but another word for area is what? Okay, now, stay with me. Do you see how intense this is? Okay, he comes up, Jesus goes up to him and says, get out of this man. The demon doesn't even argue. He's like, fine, I'll leave the man, but I'm begging you, please let me stay in the territory. Isn't that interesting? He never argued about leaving the man. Get out of the man, he tells the demon. And the demon, okay, fine, I'll get out of the man, but I'm begging you, please let me stay inside the territory. Because here's the fact, put it on the screen for me, is this. The enemy wasn't concerned with leaving the man, the enemy was concerned with leaving the territory. Remember that? I'll leave the man, fine, but I want to stay in his marriage. I want to stay in his relationships. I want to stay in his career. I want to stay in his spiritual life. I'll leave the man, but I don't want to leave the territory. The enemy's fight isn't necessarily with you. The enemy is always fighting, help me out, for our what? Come on, help me out. What is it? He's always fighting for our territory. That's why some of us have kids in here that aren't serving God. Some of us have grandkids that aren't serving God. Some of us have our finances that are a mess. Some of us have our marriages that aren't going well. Why? Why is that happening? Because he's not as much concerned with you as much as he's concerned with the territory. He's always coming after the territory. I do a lot of flying, maybe 160, 70, 80 flights a year. A lot of flying. And I am the worst when it comes to flying because I get scared the most. My wife always cracks up. She goes, how do you fly this much and you're always scared? I am always scared. How many have ever been on a plane before, commercial plane? Come on, lift up your hand. Okay, what's the last thing you see before you get on the plane? The word terminal. Who came up with that idea? You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't come up with a different word? It may as well say, you're gonna die. And so, I get on a plane a while back, and I do not like planes. I don't like flying. I get nervous every time, blah, blah, blah. Even though I fly a lot, I don't like it. So I get on this plane, and I'm on Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines is not assigned seating. It's a free-for-all. First person on there, you get to sit wherever you want. I, on that day, was one of the last people to get on the plane, meaning I had to sit in the middle. Now, let me give you a clue about my life. I hate middle seats. I hate them. Hell is going to be one big middle seat. I do not like middle seats at all, but I had to get on there, and I got on a middle seat. So I sit down in my middle seat. Sitting right next to me on the window is a lady, 100 pounds, maybe, really small lady, reading a book. That's who you want to sit next to. The little lady reading a book. But on the other side, on the aisle, I'm in the middle, on the aisle is this gigantic man, 6'5", 6'6", his head's up here somewhere. You know, he's about 300 pounds. I don't know how he fit in that chair. He's a linebacker, kind of a linebacker-looking football guy. Big old dude. So big, he's bleeding into my side. I estimate about $60 worth. Well, they got Venmo, dude, because you owe me money. And so he's a big old guy, and his head's way up here. His phone rings. He answers the phone. He starts talking. The flight attendant comes by, taps him on the shoulder. Sir, you got to get off in a few minutes. He goes, yeah, whatever. Rude, but, whatever. So now we're backing up. They're pushing us back from the terminal. And she comes by, sir, you got to get off the phone. We're pushing back. He goes, I'll get off the phone when I want to. And I thought, ooh, this is going to get good. I got my peanuts. I got ready for the show, because no one gets involved these days. We just pull out our cameras. And so he's like, he's rude. She walks away. Now we're on the runway. We're on the runway. She comes by. Sir, you got to get off the phone now. Hang up the phone now. He puts his phone like this. He goes, I'll get off the phone when I want to, and started cussing her out. Every horrible, bad word you could say to a woman and about a woman, he was saying. I mean, anything you can imagine, he was letting her have it. She's trying to defend herself. He's just going after her like this. And I'm sitting there watching this happen, and I'm thinking in my mind, someone's got to step in. Someone bigger than me, because I'm 5'11" and on my way down. And so finally I speak up. And I don't know why, I just did it like this. I looked at him, and he's up here, his head's up here, he's yelling at her, and I said, dude. And he looks at me, can't you be nice? He looked down at me. What did you say to me? So I changed it. Do you have any ice? You have to be quick. When your life's on the line, you get real creative. And so finally he gets out the phone, we take off. Now, he didn't kill me, which is good, because he could have crushed me into a fine powder. And so we finally take off. Now, have you ever been on a plane when it is raining? When it's raining, you kind of go up, and it does this a little bit, kind of shakes. And then you got to go through the storm. The storm is usually about, it's 5 to 7 minutes. And so you go up like this, and then all of a sudden you go through the clouds for 5 to 7 minutes. Then you go above the clouds, and it's blue sky. It's really weird. Now you're above the actual storm, which is weird. So we go through the rain. Okay, I'm a little nervous. I don't like it. Then all of a sudden, we go through the 5 to 7 minutes. And I'm telling you, I've been on millions of flights. This one will boom, boom. And this is what people do. They tighten their seatbelt, because that'll make a difference from 30,000 feet in the air. That'll save your life. And so we're going through this, I start bam, bam. And I'm like, this is unbelievable, And people are starting to scream. It was wild. And I'm the pastor on the flight, but I'm the one yelling out, this is it, just yelling stuff out. Then we finally, boom, we get above the storm, and there's blue skies. I don't know, that 5 to 7 minutes is crucial. A lot of us are in that 5 to 7 minutes right now. Maybe our marriage isn't going right. Our relationship with God isn't going right. Our finances aren't going right. Our careers aren't going right. And we're in there. We're just kind of hanging in there. And let me tell you something. If you quit, you'll never get to the blue skies. But if you hang on, and you hang on to God, and you keep on fighting through, you'll get to the blue skies. I promise you that you'll get there. But understand something. You might want to write this down. You cannot change what you choose to tolerate. At some point, you got to fight through and get above to the other side and watch what God will do. Now, let me give you the second thing really quick. Running out of time. Here we go. The enemy doesn't just fight you for where you are. The enemy fights you for where, help me out, oh man, this is my favorite part, Pastor Chris, because I love this. He doesn't just fight you for where you are. He fights you for where he knows you're going. He sees your potential. He sees what you could become. He doesn't just fight you for where you are in your current territory. He fights you for what he sees you could become and you could do if you just went all in and surrendered everything. He doesn't fight you for where you're at. He fights you for where you're going. Think about this for a moment. Think about it for a moment. What was the demon's name? He said, my name is what? Meaning how many? 6,000. Now stay with me, stay with me. What was this man's potential that the enemy thought, we got to put 6,000 in this one? What was he going to do? What book was he going to write? What was he going to become that the enemy was so threatened that we got to put 6,000 demons in this one? Isn't that amazing? You know, when Jesus was born, Herod comes along and says, and orchestrates it with the enemy, and they kill all the babies under 2 years old. Why? Because I think the enemy looked over at Jesus and said, oh, he's a baby right now, but I see what he's going to become. He wasn't concerned about Jesus' territory. He was concerned about his future territory. How about in the Old Testament? There's a guy named Moses. When he's born, same thing happens. Enemy orchestrates it with a guy named Pharaoh. They have all the babies under 2 years old killed. Why? Because I think the enemy was in the background going, oh, I see what this little kid Moses is going to do, and I'm going to take care of that problem right now. I think of my friend Vivian, who was 15 years old and in juvenile hall and pregnant. 15, juvenile hall, pregnant. All the counselors and the administrators, they all told her to abort the baby. Abort, abort, abort. You can't give this baby a life. She decides to go ahead and have the baby. She names that little boy Hector. She gets out of juvenile hall, marries the man that got her pregnant. They're still married today, and that little boy Hector is preaching at his church in California this morning to 1,500 people. Now, I think the enemy looked down into the womb of that mom in juvenile hall and said, oh, I see what that little boy's going to do. I'm not only scared of where he's at, I'm scared of where he's going. And I'm going to take care of that problem right now. I think of my own life. I was born in Long Beach, California. Actually, I was born in Long Beach Memorial Hospital, same place where Tiger Woods was born, different financial outcome. And I'm born in Long Beach, California, and I'm the youngest of 5 kids. And so apparently I'm 2 years old at the time. I don't remember this, but I'm 2 years old, and it's a hot summer day in July. Across the street in Long Beach, apparently some family's having a big old birthday party, and my family was invited. I'm 2 years old. Everybody's back there playing in the pool. Parents are barbecuing. Everybody's having a good time. I'm sure I'm running around in diapers. I'm only 2. I'm running around in diapers, playing, having a good time, whatever. Then all of a sudden, again, I don't know the story, but how the story goes is the ice cream man came by. Anybody remember the ice cream man? That was the guy that was half selling ice cream and half on drugs. You remember the guy. You want an ice cream, kids? And so all of a sudden, mom goes this way. Everybody goes out to the ice cream man. Mom goes this way, dad goes this way. Each of them thought that they had me. Everybody goes out, and the 2-year-old is left there. And I fall into the pool. And I'm laying at the bottom of the deep end of the pool at 2 years old, just laying there. My sister comes back, one of my sisters, grabs her towel. That's the only reason she came back, to get her towel. She came back, got the towel, looked over, and saw me, jumped in and saved my life. She's been reminding me every day since. Pastor Chris, I got a text during worship, said, I saved your life. I don't think I'm anything more special than you. I think we're all incredible in God's eyes. But I just wonder if the enemy looked down at a little 2-year-old boy in diapers and said, oh, I see what this kid's going to do. I'm going to take care of that problem right now. See, I think the enemy sees more potential in us than we see in ourselves. He sees what you could become. Some of us, man, you've been through a rough life. You had a rough upbringing. You had a rough time growing up. You almost died at childbirth. Teenage years was rough. Betrayal of mom, abandonment of dad, abuse, this, that, the other thing, whatever it is. And you could stand on one side and go, oh my gosh, look at everything that's gone through my life. Where is God? I look at the other side and I think, man, what does the enemy see in your potential that he keeps trying to take you out? What does he see in you? Look what he did to this guy. 6,000 demons. What's he see in you that sees that potential? He doesn't just fight you for where you are. He fights you for where you're going. All of us face that in our life. Every one of us face a fight every day of where we are and where we're going. And I'm telling you this, I don't know what your battle is or what your issue is. I don't know what your territory is. My battles are different than your battles. We could go around this room. We all have different things going on in our life. But I know that the answer comes down to this thought process. He doesn't just fight you for where you are. He fights you for where you're going. Put the words on the screen for me, the fight back gloves. Could we put that up there? Because I think that's really the answer right there. At the end of the day, keep going, if you could, to the fight back. Keep going. There we go. I think that's the answer right there, you guys. I think we have to fight back. We can't just sit idly by and do nothing. We have to fight back. And I don't know what's going on in your life, but I'm telling you that whatever's happening in your life, whatever's going on in your life, we got to fight back. And we got to say, man, enough. I'm not going to let you do that. And we got to come to a place where we say, hey, enemy, get your hands off my marriage, get your hands off my finances, get your hands off my kids, get your hands off my grandkids, get your hands off my future, get your hands off my career, get your hands off, and we fight back. We cannot sit idly by. Now, what I'm going through and you're going through are completely different. But there is a territory that we all share that is just as much as your responsibility as it is mine. And that's the territory that the enemy's trying to take. He's taking the territory of the local church. What did I say at the beginning? We are losing 3 churches for every one that open. And it's getting worse and worse. We look around, there's a lot of people here. That's because you have great leaders. But this is not normal. I had people come up to me before the service. Hey, I remember you were here for church rescue one time. I have a friend that's shutting down a church. My father-in-law's church is about to shut down. A few of you have already approached me. I'm like, that's happening everywhere. And we want to do something about it. And we've been doing something about it. About 4 or 5 years ago, I got a bunch of guys together in a room, and I just said, hey, here's a major problem. It was pastors of a church about 5 years ago. And I showed them something like this. I go, look at 1980. Go to the maps for me. In 1980, if you look at the red dots, that represents the saturation of churches in America. Did you know in the 50s, 60s, 70s, more people were joining the church than babies were being born? It was incredible. In the 1980s, man, we had tons of churches. But look, in 2000, go to the 2000. Look how it's getting smaller. We started to close more churches than we opened. And it got worse. And I was sharing that with the pastors 5 years ago, friends of mine. Then look at 2020. It's getting even smaller and less and less. And if we keep going at this pace, 9 years and 2 months from now, in 2035, it'll look like this. It's not a matter of if. It's just a matter of when. How many would say, man, America's not the same place it was 20 years ago? How many agree it's not the same place it was 20 months ago? It's like common sense has become a superpower. You'll get that a little bit later at lunch. But we're losing. So I got a bunch of pastors together, and I said, guys, we got to do something about this. So we came up with this idea. What if we have this thing called Church Boom. What if we created an initiative called Church Rescue? We would take a pastor, say that you were pastoring a church of 30 people, and you were pastoring a church of 40 people, churches under 100. What if we bring them in? And what if we coach them for a year for free? We'll pay the coaches, but they don't have to pay for it. And then what if we give them resources? They need money to keep their building open, and the roof's leaking. What if we help them? And then what if we send them on a retreat for 4 days to a beautiful resort that they don't have to pay for? All these pastors of small churches that are struggling, maybe going to close their doors. Everybody in that room that I was meeting with 5 years ago was like, this is great. How are we going to pay for it? I'm like, I got no idea. But isn't it a good idea? We got to do something. And we started 5 years ago, raising money from business people and local healthy churches like yourself. And all we do is take that and give it away. Take it and give it away. And I'm telling you, in the last 5 years, we've rescued now into the thousands of churches. Just 2 weeks ago, we had 103 more churches join in to be rescued. It's happening, and it's growing like crazy. And that's what we've been doing. I want to thank you for being a kingdom builder. Those of you who are kingdom builders, you're helping to rescue the bride of Jesus Christ, the local church. You're doing that, and I want to thank you for that. Fight for your territory, whatever that territory may be. You got to fight. But help us with prayer. Help us with your kingdom builders that we can fight for the local church. You got your own territory, I got mine. But together, there's one that we are all responsible for. It's the local church. We can't let it die in America. How many agree with me on that? We believe with all of our heart that rescued churches will rescue people, and rescued churches will rescue America. The answer is not the White House. The answer is God's house. That's the answer. I don't care if you like the president or don't, none of that matters. I don't care who's the president. They ain't going to solve this problem. This problem's ours. We got to fight for the local church.